a Dear Media original podcast.
Today's episode is brought to us by ZocDoc. When we're not feeling our best and we're just trying to hold it all together, finding great care should not take up all our energy. That's where ZocDoc comes in, using their free app that millions of users rely on. You can find the right doctor that meets your needs and fits your schedule. Book an appointment with a few taps in their app and start feeling better faster with ZocDoc. Thousands of medical professionals on ZocDoc are there to help you. They listen like a friend and they give you the expert care that you really need. I was sick recently and I looked around on the app and I really appreciated that there were so many people right by me. It made it really easy for me. And the last thing I wanted in that moment was to have a bunch of steps, and I appreciated that they were all done right there in one app. The thing I really love about ZocDoc is it just makes it really, really easy. You can choose from thousands of patient-reviewed doctors and specialists, browse doctor profiles, upload and verify all your insurance information, and get the care that you really need. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. Go to ZocDoc.com/instincts and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/instincts. ZocDoc.com/instincts. Hi, welcome to Good Instincts. I'm Shira Barlow, but you may know me as the food therapist. Join me every Monday through Friday for bite-sized episodes designed to help you close the gap between where you are right now and where you want to go. This should feel good, like really good. And it will, I promise. So on Monday, we talked about the really common roadblocks I'm seeing with my clients, and I also see it pop up around friends and family members. And if it's popping up all those places, it's a really good thing to talk about here. And one of them that I didn't talk about, but I wanted to talk about today, is this idea of when people kind of fail to build in conscious indulgences into their day and what that does. I see that a lot, where people kind of go greens and protein all day, day after day, and they don't let themselves indulge at all. And then as soon as they get their hands on some kind of treat, they go really, really overboard, feel really upset about that, and then feel like, oh my God, it's ruined. It's all over. And I may as well just keep going. And in those moments, it is so, so frustrating. And I think it is really important to recognize just that feeling of feeling like you were doing so well and on this path, and that it can be just really disappointing to take steps back. But I really do think that one of the contributing factors there is that we're not actually letting ourselves indulge enough. And I think what really happens, and I know this from clients and people that I talk to all the time, is that for them, sweets feel a little bit out of control, where they can't, quote unquote, just eat one. And I think that that is something to really look into, because I think being able to indulge in a really thoughtful way is a part of a really healthy, happy life. And I think just as we talked about on Monday, there are these lies that we tell ourselves where I'm not someone that can keep XYZ in the house. I'm not someone that can have just one. I think that those are really damaging to tell ourselves, when in fact, maybe what in the past we've done is we've gone so rigid, and then when we get our hands on them, we can't stop. Or there's X, Y, and Z other things that could lead to overindulging in sweets. And of course, there are people that do have a hard time keeping certain things in their house, in which case I totally support you in not having them. But I do think that for a lot of people, it's really helpful to challenge that idea of being able to have some kind of sweet treat around, and being able to have some kind of sweet treat within your day, and not have that be some crazy thing that really derails the whole process. And for a lot of people, what I find is that if you save that sweet treat for the end of the day, some people love doing that, like having a little option after dinner. I do find, though, knowing everything we know about willpower and that it is a limited resource that is used up by doing non-food things like not yelling at our kids when they're being crazy or not honking at people on the street when they're running in front of us and not observing the rules of the road. So, knowing all of that, I do think it is hard to control our serving size at the end of the day, especially with something like sweets. So, something I really like and recommend a lot is having it between breakfast and lunch or between lunch and dinner. And I feel like in those cases, myself included, during the day, it feels a lot easier to control that portion size. So, that is something to keep in mind. I have talked about this before, but I think it bears repeating, which is that I had a client many years ago who was a big fancy food editor, and he would gorge on his kids' stale Halloween candy. And he was so mad about it because it wasn't even good. And it was always at the end of the day. And what we talked about, because he was in New York, there were these like little beautiful truffles at Italy. And we talked about this idea of what about buying 12 and every day after lunch, having like a sensible lunch, and every day afterwards, like savoring one truffle and truly letting it melt in his mouth. And it again sounds really simplistic, but it actually really wasn't. And it was revolutionary for him because for him, he was someone that really did savor food, but he wasn't actually able to do that with sweets because it would trigger that same pleasure center in the brain like it does for all of us. And it's really hard to control in those moments. And so he was able to kind of change his relationship with sweets and have it be something that was like really special, but didn't need a ton to kind of scratch that itch. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. So I'm a huge, huge fan of having some kind of chocolate something during the day. I need it just for myself. I am very into the following. So Who chocolate, we've talked about before. I really like their bars. Half a bar, I think, is a totally sensible portion. But they also make these Who gems. They're like chocolate chips. They're kind of like perfectly sweetened, in my opinion. I really like the stuff that I get for the house to be non-processed sugar. You do you, but I feel better that way. So everything I'm recommending today is going to be all with non-processed sugar. So I will sometimes take 2 tablespoons of the Who gems and I will melt them over the stovetop. I basically boil water and I take a bowl and I let it kind of melt really gently. And I'll put that over nuts with sea salt and cinnamon. And that's a really amazing treat. I also, we've talked about it before, I love the brand Honey Mamas. I just think it's so, so special. And a little goes a long way. It's so fudgy and it's so rich. So what would it mean to like truly, truly, truly savor that? I was talking about it with my producer, Allie, and she actually recently got a bar and loved it. And I was so impressed with the fact that she loved it so much, but she really wanted to savor it. So she like literally ate it over the course of a couple days. And I think that if you actually let it melt in your mouth and like really pay attention to like all the flavor profiles that are coming up, they have a ton of different flavors. I like the one that's chocolate mint, but they have truly anything under the sun that you would be interested in. I think like a shake with half a banana is really decadent. I mean, it's not like a chocolate bar, but to me, it kind of tastes like a milkshake. So to me, that works the same way. I will do the protein powder I like. It's called New Fix, and I will do it with like hazelnut milk, cashew milk. I'm allergic to almonds, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would do that because it's more easily available. But then I do half a frozen banana. And it's really, really good and it's tasty and it really does feel like a special treat. But I like that during the day. I've also done that at night as well, though. Tomorrow, we actually have an amazing freezer fudge recipe that I found. And that's a really nice option as well. It actually doesn't have added sugar. So that's a fun option if you're not doing added sugar at the moment. Tomorrow is a shit I'm loving. I will see you there. Thank you so much for listening to Good Instincts, hosted and written by me, Shira Barlow. You can find me on Instagram at Shira_RD. Good Instincts is a Dear Media daily. Today's episode is brought to us by ZocDoc. When we're not feeling our best and we're just trying to hold it all together, finding great care should not take up all our energy. That's where ZocDoc comes in, using their free app that millions of users rely on. You can find the right doctor that meets your needs and fits your schedule. Book an appointment with a few taps in their app and start feeling better faster with ZocDoc. Thousands of medical professionals on ZocDoc are there to help you. They listen like a friend and they give you the expert care that you really need. I was sick recently and I looked around on the app and I really appreciated that there were so many people right by me. It made it really easy for me. And the last thing I wanted in that moment was to have a bunch of steps. And I appreciated that they were all done right there in one app. The thing I really love about ZocDoc is it just makes it really, really easy. You can choose from thousands of patient-reviewed doctors and specialists, browse doctor profiles, upload and verify all your insurance information, and get the care that you really need. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. Go to ZocDoc.com/instincts and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/instincts, ZocDoc.com/instincts.
Please note that this episode may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products and services. Individuals on the show may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to in this episode.